We now return to the King's Dilemma. Alright. We have 4 missions now in the world, plus a new one. So let's go take a look at that one. City of Tents. This one will deal with knowledge. Why don't we do that one, since we're... Oh, I guess we're kind of neutral now, aren't we? The Ivory Desert. It cost me money to go to that one, too. The Desert Merchants boasts that the City of Tents was once the capital of the Sabaean League, a powerful alliance of city-states that allegedly dominated the world centuries ago through their trading supremacy, but which fell overnight during a cursed black eclipse. Do we investigate the rumor about the capital of the Sabaean League? Everybody says yes, so away we go. We instruct our scholars to search the Royal Library for references to this Sabaean League. While they find no clues about its fall, the image of a black eclipse that brings powerful societies to ruin is a recurring theme in the ancient chronicles. I probably would have said yes anyway, seeing as how that is tied to my family's ancestry. Okay. Now we can continue that. Maybe let's do the value of might in Duin. The trade guild in Duin is prospering from the trade of red iron, but its gains fail to trickle down to the common folk. Some want to tighten taxation and use part of the profits to help the struggling lower classes. The resulting price increase on red iron, though, will lower its commercial appeal. Do we increase taxes on the trade of red iron? They say nay, and we are moving far forward here, to the point that I feel perhaps I can go against the grain here. So if we say yes, that lowers my monetary thing, and we are trying to lower some of this stuff. Whereas this, we boost money, but lower, what is this again? Welfare. Yeah. I say yes. We'll go against the council. Tightening taxation on red iron limits the amount of metal other kingdoms are willing to import, and in the end impoverishes our kingdom. Ooh. Solving certain dilemmas will have permanent side effects on the kingdom. When this happens, a chronicle will be registered in the table above the resource track. Their effects, either positive or negative, are applied to the corresponding resources at the beginning of every reign. Positive chronicles move the corresponding resource up by 1, while negative move them down. With this new tax, we can afford to occasionally provide food to the poorest citizens of our kingdom. Yay, that's what it means. Now we have a ticker in here. That's okay, though. That's okay. I realize that that also sort of goes against the role-playing grain of my family, that we would have been merciless merchants anyway, but we also need support of perhaps the underdog just a little bit. And continue that. Let's go into the City of Tents Libra's Trade Guild and find out a little bit about this. Drusu, a tremendously rich merchant with a ruddy smile coming from the City of Tents, is offering our kingdom a ridiculously large sum of money on loan, to be returned in convenient installments. Do we take the loan from Drusu, a rich merchant? I mean, they're leaning towards yes. I feel like the whole, yeah, you can pay us back, though, is going to bite me, so, nay. We turn down Drusu's sketchy proposal, giving up great riches, but we can't have our grandchildren pay for our squandering desires. The people bless Rayla, saint daughter of money and business, for helping us see through the fraud. Okay, we're halfway through our decision-making here. You gotta be careful about that, because as we can see here, my decisions are not moving the track, which means that the reign will last longer, so that more decisions could be made, and I now have fewer resources to work with those dilemmas. Anyway, shall we head back out here then? Let's work on the sinful trade in Conferta. The cult believes that trading human beings is indecent and wants to put a stop to it. Many merchants, however, find it very lucrative and believe it is enriching the kingdom. Do we abolish the trade on Confertan slaves? I mean, this is both decisions here. I guess we can move it up a little bit. I don't know how much it would move up a little bit, because we do need things down here for our goal. Let's say no. just because I don't want to spend the points. The wealth of our kingdom is more important than the abstract moral considerations regarding foreign people. The commerce on converted slaves rises in value as merchants feel that their right to buy and sell human beings, albeit foreigners, is protected by the council. Protesting laborers. Since slavery was accepted, many families lost their jobs and fell into poverty. Many citizens protest against converted slavery, which they feel is both immoral and unfair competition. Is that going to send that down? Had no impact. We do have a negative now in here, but that might... Again, we're actually not seeing any consequence on either of these. That is perhaps not the best. We do need that. Let's move on to City of Tents, Ivory Deserts. A band of marauders approached our expedition privately, asking a hefty sum in exchange for a big treasure, ancient scrolls, jewels, and most importantly, the golden map. They explicitly state that it came into their possession after exterminating a group of sand priestesses at a secret desert temple. The expedition soldiers think we should take it by force rather than deal with such scum. Do we pay the desert marauders for the stolen treasure? I'm going to go with these guys and say no. Nay. Such cruel acts can't be condoned nor left unpunished. Our soldiers easily slay the marauders and avenge their victims, and take their stuff. They also recover the ancient scrolls and golden map from their destroyed camp, but the sand priestesses from the City of Tents will soon discover how it came into our possession. Our expedition leaves the city in a hurry. A golden map. Chiseled into a single golden leaf, the map has a grandiose look. As gold easily stands the test of time, its age is unfathomable. However, old legends speak of a golden map leading to an endless fountain of liquid gold. Numerous old scrolls we obtained together with the map are full of references to a Sun Empire, known only from ancient legends dating back to the ages before Omad, the first king. We wonder whether this is the map of the old legends and how truthful those legends are. It may all be a metaphor for the power and riches of the lost empire. An expedition has to be launched, but the map is not easily interpreted. Right, our money situation has gone right back up. And that was a dramatic decision because now we've moved closer to that. We have new quests in Ankist or in Libra, and they're both tied to the golden map. Why don't we search the library? Our cartographers can't agree on how to interpret the golden map. There are two possible paths. Which route should we take? Well, so we can either go up towards some islands or down to the mountains. Which I sort of already know a path. I'm wondering if it takes us anywhere different. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to go into the mountains, because if you look at the river here, turned sideways, it looks very similar to that, and then it goes down into mountains, and then we find a mountain peak. And indeed, that is the path I chose last time, and it took me there. I am tempted to go the wrong direction, though. Well, it might not even actually be the wrong direction, it might just be a direction. Let's stick with Route B. The expedition will proceed on the chosen path. Paths over the clouds. The golden map leads our expedition to a narrow passage across the Nebula Mountains. Despite its tight dimensions, the path is quite safe and the mountain range offers an impressive view. The amazed explorers encounter many outlandish tribes, unusual animals, and exotic plants. They trade and learn a lot on their way, and they are bound to bring back many wonderful gifts. Still, as the expeditioneers slowly move toward their final destination, they wonder if this was where the golden map was really meant to bring them. Indeed, I wonder. Perhaps for myself, just my own curiosity, I should have chosen something else. That way I could see for sure if this game does only stick to one path or if there are multiple opportunities depending on your choices, because otherwise, if you play through the game multiple times, you're always going to know the correct answer. I'll think about that in future. Right now, I've only made a couple decisions different. My own curiosity, then. Okay, Ankist. We could continue with the Golden Map storyline, but perhaps we should be looking back at the value of might. Let's go to Torque. Lorenz, an entrepreneur from Torque, led an expedition beyond the northern border to seek red iron mines, but we lost contact with him. Some suggest we should send a military contingent to look for him, a very dangerous quest as it could be seen as trespassing by the kingdom of Enco, further to the north, with whom we have not had contact for decades, and whose military strength is unknown. Should we send the army to investigate the disappearance of Lorenz? I'm going to agree on this one and say no. That'll lower morale a little bit, and lower our knowledge, but we do need them to go south anyhow. A few days later, the corpse of Lorenz arrives in Torque, bound to a horse with a red iron dagger in its back holding a letter. Your men violated our mountains. A just sentence has been passed. The gory message is imprinted in red ink with the symbol of a gauntlet, the emblem of the kingdom of Enco. We alert the army scouts to keep an eye on these aggressive neighbors. An unsafe market. After we abandon Lorenz and his smugglers to their fate, many of our merchants don't feel safe traveling outside the borders of the kingdom to seek new sources of profit. Oh? Iron that pierces the sky. Despite the relatively short distance, contact with the kingdom of Enco was lost for decades. The bitter lands that divide us allow very few exchanges. And they never had much to offer anyway. Though they were a militaristic society, we considered the Enkali as inoffensive as the Scarams, nomadic tribes living in the unclaimed brown hills along our border. Yet despite their small numbers, it seems they've become a threat thanks to red iron. They must have discovered it only recently, but they mastered its harvesting and smithing much better than we. The scouts we sent even sighted an impressive fortress. Scouts? Wait a minute, I thought I said no scouts. Impressive fortress reinforced with huge red iron plates they call the Crimson Keep. Okay. Interesting, so we progress that storyline regardless. We got a new one in the world. Paths over the clouds, iron that pierces the sky. Eventually we'll have to take on this part. I'm only looking at 4 out of 8 here, so this has gone back down based on my decisions. I need to be mindful here. So let's perhaps keep going down through here in the Nebula Mountains. Strange horned sheep from the Nebula Mountains make the softest wool. It can be used to create insulated garments that can keep you warm even in the coldest winters. We could try to import the livestock and breed them on our own, but the transportation costs would be huge. Do we import the horned sheep for their soft wool? Everybody says yes. I am inclined to agree. As a greedy merchant family, yes. Like that is moving considerably higher. It will shift us a little bit. That's alright. A lot of money is spent to buy and transport the horned sheep back to Ankist. Most of the animals suffer and die while traversing the Ivory Desert, but the few that survive provide enough wool to make our winters less cold. Horned fashion. Clothes made from horned sheep wool became extremely fashionable, with the positive side effect of decreasing the number of freezing deaths during winter. Huzzah. And we now have 2 in this column in the positive, which gives me a big coin flip. I don't know what it means. It seems like it always goes to that side, though. Like there's a skull on one side and this symbol on the other, and from what I have seen, it always goes to that. And look at this. We are in such agreement with our rival that I'm thinking this is probably going to start shifting. Maybe these guys, too. That might be good. I wonder what the consequences of forming an alliance with a former rival is going to be on the story. Okay, we can continue that storyline. What else is going on in Ankist? Let's talk about the 3 trunks in the Golden Map. Tribune brings us news from the people of Three Trunks, a small village in the north mark of Dualak. They claim that a witch is living in the nearby Hedgehog Woods. She is rumored to be capable of weaving the laws of nature according to her will, but many fear her ways. Do we send the army to Dualak to apprehend an alleged witch? Say no. That'll send morale down more. This is a major story point. I could make a pretty... I mean, here's the thing, though. I already know that one decision can have a massive negative impact upon the game. So since I already know what the correct way to do this is, maybe I don't want to risk having this go the bad way. We will not spend our precious resources just because of rumors and superstition. However, some superstitious fanatics accuse the council of simply being afraid of the witch, and they assemble a group to address the situation on their own terms. The Truth Keepers. Because of our inaction, a band of religious zealots proclaiming themselves the Truth Keepers starts roaming the Hedgehog Woods with pitchforks and torches, looking for the alleged witch. Rumors about her ability to bend the laws of nature are becoming more common, enraging the zealots in their brutal search. The Truth Keepers believe that the locals are hiding something, and they are determined to make them talk. During the following months, they frequently abuse the local people, to the point that they become more feared than the witch herself. Cannot allow such vigilantism in the kingdom. Skull. Okay. Ooh, that was a major decision there. That brought that one down a lot. It's okay, though. The king is dead. We got one out of it, because we did fulfill this. And 4 coins. I see. So because the 2 here, we start... Okay, that's what that has an impact on. Interesting. And we can see here that because we fulfilled the greedy one, we've already leveled this up. I do not know exactly what that means. If we get 4, maybe we get an extra crown out of this? So now we have more choices, because that was a longer reign. We can do moderate. 1 white for every white, 1 black for every black in the central, which is actually pretty easy, because that's mostly where we are anyway. Opportunist, 1 black for every resource in the lower half, 2 additional black if they're all okay. So how is that different than the other one? I see. Money. Money versus crowns. Opulence. 1 white for every white, 2 additional whites. Okay, so it's the opposite. Rebel. Extremist. 1 coin for every step between the highest and lowest resources on the track. That was pretty severe last time, actually. 1 white and black, the maximum distance is reached. Okay, so this is mostly if we just need money. Because otherwise we'd have to make very extreme decisions. Let's go for moderate. That should be pretty easy to get. Alright. That's a new opportunity, I guess? Or is that that must be the finished one, I think. Done. Yeah, that one. So we could research Libra's geology. I could afford to do that. Saving up, boy. So that is an important one. What does that symbol mean again? Final dilemma? That's a long time, though. Let's go ahead and do this. Studying the terrain allows construction of structures. That I know that unlocks some stuff. We have to do it twice, it looks like. We only did one side of that. Okay, we still have to conquer another kingdom. We are still trying to recruit people of Natar. And we need to find a vigilante force. Okay. Okay. Well, to my knowledge, there are 2 situations where the vigilante force comes into play. One is with the Truth Keepers and the Witch. Another one we have not met yet. assuming that that story point still comes along, that plot point comes along. I don't really want to go against the witch. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know what happens if we go with her, and I feel like that is very important. Maybe? Just a little bit? So, it won't be... Alright, anyway. What else do we have here? Do we have anything else, perhaps, that we can maybe unlock? Iron that pierces the sky. Maybe let's go to Muir? The Tribune reports to us that an unprecedented drought has hit Tyrol, ravaging crops and decimating the cattle. The price of bread has increased to the point that many among the poorest can't afford it. But the Kingdom of Muir is offering us uncannily cheap wheat. Here we go. Importing it would save the poorest from starvation, but its low price is suspicious. Do we import low-priced Murian wheat? They say aye. I say aye as well, because I know, through metagaming now, that this will lead to two of my goals, or at least the possibility for them. Importing Murian wheat, however cheaply, is an unexpected expense that makes the royal treasurer turn up his nose. The poorest fringes of the population in Tyrol, however, are relieved by the announcement. Dark harvest. The drought has impacted food reserves in all of our duchies. Importing grain was our only chance to help Tyrol. Muir is a small but rather advanced kingdom. They claim they developed a new fertilizer that allows them to greatly increase their wheat production without compromising on quality. Yet the Murian wheat we are importing is suspiciously gray as ash, as is the flour obtained from it. Tyroleans complain that Muir is insulting them with poor goods because of the historical bad blood between them, but the poorest outcasts are glad that they have something to eat, and do not care about the color of their bread. Alrighty. What next? Libra. Dark Harvest? Let's continue that storyline a bit. Castle's courtyard. It is time to resupply the army. We could save money by mixing regular and gray wheat to produce the bread rations for our soldiers. We use a mix of cheap gray and regular wheat to feed our soldiers. Everybody's here saying yes. If we say no, we boost our military, so, If we're going to be conquering somebody, we need good... Starting to go down. Ooh, with a different house. This is a different house we're opposed to now. Let me check on that. Can I? No, I can't. Can't check on my diplomacy just yet. I want to see how our old rivals now have swapped in. Are they out of the council? This is the council track here. I'll have to look. Right now... Yeah, let's mix it. Considerable amounts of cheap gray flour are diluted with regular and more valuable flour to produce the bread rations for our soldiers. Producing food for the army becomes remarkably cheaper, but the soldiers don't fail to notice the diminished quality of their food. Second-class soldiers. We decided to feed our soldiers with cheap bread. Each morsel reminds them of how little we care for their well-being, even as they risk their lives for us. Let's go look. They seem to be friendly, still, I guess. They are off the council, though. The flag is gone. So now we have the Alwins. Okay. Dualax. So the Dualax, that was the one mission. We actually lowered our standing. I mean, this isn't shifting at all, so... I wonder if it does, though. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that line doesn't move. Maybe it's just showing the half and half, like we're on good terms with these two. Like, really good terms with these two. Starting to have bad terms with everybody else, though. Anyway. Truth Keepers... Tyrol. Let's do one more here, looking for this thing. Nebula Mountains. An ancient musical instrument made entirely of glass was discovered in the Nebula Mountains. While studying its outlandish workings, our scholars observed that its sound arouses depression in those who hear it. The talented musician, Relisi, composed a suite inspired by it, and wants to perform with the instrument during a public concert to see the effect on a vast scale. Do we allow Relisi to play the depressing glass instrument? I mean, these guys say yes. That will lower morale considerably, but raise our knowledge, as opposed to this, which is going to boost morale. I feel like doing this is going to be bad, but could potentially give us a weapon. Now, if this was like King of Dragon Pass, this would be a valuable war weapon that we could have, a valuable artifact. And I do kind of want to spend this, because if we don't spend it, well, you know. Although I am tempted to just see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's agree. It takes a while for Elise to learn how to play the glass instrument, but her first public performance is a resounding, critical success. The melancholic choir of snowflakes, Release's composition, will inspire musicians for generations to come. A few weeks later, though, the hearts of our people are struck with grief when they learn of Release's suicide. Dire melancholy. The glass instrument becomes popular among intellectuals. Unfortunately, its eerie sound plunges the players into an inescapable depression, often leading to suicide. That is interesting. So it's not the listeners, it's the player. Perhaps we could give it as a gift. Need to look what that is. What are you? Oh, this is the new thing, the hydrocrystalphone. Glass instrument supposed to calm wild animals and induce depressions in humans. Why would we do that? We may need it for calming wild animals, though. And that means, okay, so we were told that we could not unlock all of these in a single playthrough. This is now unlocked to me. Before I chose not to. People were happy that I chose not to use them as guinea pigs on listening to the depressing melodies. But we have to do that. So basically you have to eventually choose everything to unlock all of these choices. Interesting. Anyway, I think that's enough for this one, so I'll end it here. I'll see you next time.